My friend, just imagine this. With $500 a month in the US, it might only cover utilities and a little food before your wallet is empty. But out there, in other places, that same amount is enough to rent a small home, enjoy 3 good meals a day, sip coffee by the sea, and still have money left for walks or even travel. Sounds unbelievable, right? But if you skip this video, you'll be skipping 5 countries that could completely change your retirement and your life. So right now, make sure to hit like. Leave a comment telling me which country you'd choose, and subscribe so you won't miss the journey to find places where $500 is all you need to live comfortably and happily. Dream it. Pack it. Go. Bonchvam. Bolivia, a symphony of mountains and simplicity. There's a country tucked in the heart of South America, where the majestic Andes embrace red-roofed cities, where Lake Titicaca quietly reflects the sky, and where lively local markets filled with laughter still keep rhythms centuries old. This is Bolivia, often called the rustic heart of South America, but I prefer another name: a symphony of mountains and simplicity. In Bolivia, $500, $600 a month isn't just a number. It's the key to a full life that many in the US only dream about. Picture this. You choose Sucre, the white city, with cobblestone streets and balconies draped in bougainvillea. A charming 2-bedroom apartment in the center, with a balcony overlooking distant mountains, costs only about $350. In the morning, you stroll through the market, buying vegetables, beef, and freshly baked corn cakes. Less than $100 for the entire month. Internet? Around $20. A visit to a private doctor, including basic exams and medication, is just $25–30. Add it all up, and the total comes to about $470, still leaving room for a housekeeper a few times a week, or even a small dog as a companion. Yes, in Bolivia, $500 truly lets you live, not just survive. But what surprises many people even more isn't the cost. It's the residency policy. While many countries demand property investments or proof of 1,000 plus oaks monthly income, Bolivia requires only about $300 in minimum income. That number is so low it feels almost effortless. With that income, you can apply for a long-term specific purpose visa, and after just 2 years of residency, you're eligible to apply for permanent residency. Stay longer, 3 to 5 years, and the door to citizenship opens wide, without ever being required to buy property or invest capital. This makes Bolivia one of the few truly accessible South American countries for those seeking a long-term home. Of course, when talking about living abroad, everyone cares about healthcare and safety. Bolivia has a public healthcare system that provides free coverage for many basic services, especially for seniors. Something not every country in the region offers. That said, the quality of public care is uneven. So many people prefer private clinics. The good news is that private care is very affordable. A visit costs just $25–30, with attentive doctors and without the heart attack bills you'd face in the US. As for safety, mid-sized cities like Sucre or Cochabamba are considered quite peaceful. You can take an evening walk, stop to buy fruit on the corner, and feel a simple kind of security. Of course, in La Paz or Santa Cruz, the bigger cities, there's more petty theft and chaotic traffic, so living in smaller areas tends to be more comfortable. Someone once asked, "What's special about Bolivia besides being cheap?" The answer lies in the experience. You'll find yourself sipping hot yerba tea by the window, watching the mountains shift colors under the sunlight. You'll be invited to dinner by neighbors who simply want to share a meal, and you'll realize that simplicity here doesn't mean lacking. It means a kind of fullness all its own. Naturally, no paradise is perfect. In Bolivia, the internet can be spotty, roads sometimes full of potholes that make you miss US highways. And if you don't know Spanish, communication can be tough at first. But in return, locals are so warm that often just a look and a smile is enough for them to understand what you need. And soon, you'll find that learning a few Spanish phrases not only helps with shopping, but also helps you truly integrate into the community here. So why does Bolivia deserve a place on this list? Because it's a country that gives you the chance to truly live on a modest budget. Here, you don't need to prove assets. You don't need complicated paperwork. You don't need to chase achievements. You just need to be present, live sincerely, and Bolivia will embrace you with its simplicity. I remember meeting John, 62, from Texas, who had just arrived in Cochabamba. On his very first trip to the market, he pulled out a 100 Boliviano bill, about $15, to buy a few tomatoes. The vendor looked at him and handed over an entire basket of tomatoes, plus bundles of fresh herbs and a bag of potatoes as a gift. John stood there stunned, holding a bag heavier than his travel backpack, laughing and saying, "Back in the US, this money would barely buy a large pizza. Here I've accidentally become a vegetable seller." Perhaps the final question should be for you. If $500 a month in the US barely covers half the rent, why not let that same $500 become an entirely new life in a place where mountains touch the clouds and the sky always feels wide open? Maybe the simple symphony called Bolivia is the melody you've been waiting for all along. If you feel your heart resonate with Bolivia after hearing this story, leave a comment. I choose simplicity. Because who knows? Your next step might not be just a trip, but the ticket to begin a new chapter in this gentle South American country. 4. Paraguay, a peaceful oasis in the heart of South America. If you've ever dreamed of a place where life moves slowly, land stretches wide, and costs feel like turning back the clock, then Paraguay is the answer. Nestled between giants like Brazil and Argentina, this small country holds on to its own charm, simplicity, peace, and hospitality. To me, Paraguay feels like a peaceful oasis, where you can turn $500 a month into a complete life. Here, the total cost of living for one person runs around $450–480 per month. In the capital Asunción, a tidy one-bedroom apartment costs about $200, while in smaller towns like Encarnación on the Paraná River or San Pedro in the wide-open countryside, prices are even lower, just $100 to $150 for comfortable housing. Food is just as easy. $150–200 a month gets you plenty of grilled asado, fresh fruit, and abundant vegetables. Eating out? Only $5 for a proper meal. Buses cost just a few cents, and if you like driving, fuel prices won't give you headaches. Here, $500 isn't a dream, it's a daily reality. Paraguay also surprises many with its residency policy. You don't need to prove sky-high income, nor do you have to pour hundreds of thousands into property. Just deposit about $5,000 in a Paraguayan bank, and you qualify for permanent residency. And after only 3 years of living here, you can apply for citizenship. In a world where immigration processes grow tougher every day, Paraguay offers a rare and gentle path. When it comes to healthcare, the country offers a public system that's free or extremely low cost, covering basic needs. If you prefer faster service, private clinics charge only about $20–30 per visit, a number that's hard to believe if you're used to US prices. Safety in small towns is quite good. You can stroll in the evenings, greet your neighbors, and not worry much. The capital is busier and noisier, but that's familiar if you've lived in big cities before. The best part of Paraguay isn't the money you save, but the sense of community. Picture yourself at sunset by the Paraná River, where locals gather to share tereré, the signature cold herbal tea. You don't need to be fluent in Spanish. A simple smile is enough to be welcomed in, and you'll quickly understand why Paraguay is called the Green Heart of South America. There's a small story from Linda, 68, from California, that illustrates this perfectly. On her first day receiving a utility bill, she nervously opened it and then burst out laughing. Just over $15 for the entire month. She immediately compared. In the US, that barely buys 2 lattes. Here, it's a whole month of light and clean water. From that moment, she knew she had made the right choice. Of course, Paraguay isn't perfect. The internet isn't as fast as in Europe. The roads still have potholes, and summer heat can be so intense you'll want to spend the whole day under a tree. But looking at the bigger picture, those inconveniences feel small compared to the peace this country offers. Paraguay isn't where you go to seek glamour. It's where you rediscover simple freedom. Mornings without bill stress, afternoons sipping tea with neighbors, and nights of peaceful sleep without worries of scarcity. So what do you think? If $500 in the US barely pays half a month's rent, while in Paraguay it covers an entire month of comfortable living, would you dare give it a try to see what you might discover in this peaceful oasis? If you found this helpful, don't forget to hit like and subscribe, so we can continue exploring together the places where simple living brings more abundance than you'd ever expect. The 3. Philippines, the paradise of smiles on the sea waves. There are places where you feel welcome from the very first moment, not by paperwork, not by cold numbers, but by smiles. The Philippines is such a place. This archipelago of more than 7,000 islands is often called the paradise of smiles on the sea waves, where the water is crystal blue, the sand is powdery white, and the people are so friendly you forget you're a stranger. If you ask what $450–500 a month can get you here, the answer is enough to live a life full of sunshine and rich with experiences. In Dumaguete, known as the retirement capital of the Philippines, the cost of living is about 70% lower than in the US. You can rent a small apartment near the beach for just $150–200. If you prefer a bigger city but still want to save, an apartment in suburban Cebu costs only around $200–250. Food is so cheap and abundant it'll make you laugh. A meal at a local eatery costs just $2–3, and if you cook at home, groceries for the whole month are only $150–200. Utilities and internet add up to $60–80, and transportation is nearly negligible. Jeepneys and tricycles are just cents, while renting a motorbike to roam the islands is only $40–50 per month. Add it all together, and your total is around $450–500, enough for a comfortable life without lacking anything. The Philippines isn't just affordable, it's legally easy too. For those wanting to stay long-term, the government offers the SRRV, Special Resident Retirees Visa, which lets you settle permanently with a deposit of $10,000–$20,000, depending on age and income. This visa comes with benefits like exemption from import taxes on household goods and even cars. And if you're not ready yet, a simple 59-day tourist visa, renewed many times, also allows you to stay for years. This flexibility makes the Philippines a perfect destination for both retirees and those who want to test the waters for a few months before committing long-term. Healthcare is also a surprising highlight. International hospitals in Manila or Cebu provide services on par with many places in the US, but the costs are just a fraction. A private consultation runs about $20–30, while a comprehensive insurance plan is under $100 per month. This gives many retirees peace of mind, especially when compared with the sleepless nights caused by medical bills back home. Everyday life in the Philippines is a fascinating mix of modern and simple. In the morning, you can buy fresh fish, vegetables, and sweet mangoes at the market for unbelievably low prices. In the afternoon, you might sit at a roadside cafe, order an iced coffee for less than $1, and watch the colorful jeepneys roll by. People here don't care what your job is or where you're from. They just want to know if you're doing well, if you've eaten, and if you need help. This warmth is what makes expat communities in places like Dumaguete, Iloilo, or Bohol always feel welcome, where safety and tranquility remain the rhythm of daily life. I once met Mark, 64, from Florida, who had just moved to Dumaguete. On his first trip to the market, he happily filled his basket with fish, vegetables, fruit, and even a bouquet of fresh orchids. At checkout, the total was just $8. He burst out laughing. Back in the US, this would only buy me a single portion of salmon at the supermarket. Here, I accidentally bought a whole feast. Stories like this show the real power of money here. It doesn't make you rich, but it makes you comfortable. Of course, the Philippines has its downsides. Manila is crowded, traffic is heavy, and sometimes chaotic. During typhoon season, some areas are hit hard, and infrastructure on smaller islands isn't fully modern. But when you weigh these drawbacks against the low cost of living, the friendliness of the people, the stunning nature, and the advantage of widespread English, you'll see why the Philippines remains one of the most appealing choices. The Philippines doesn't promise you a life of luxury. It promises you a home by the sea, new friends with genuine smiles, and a life full of sunshine for just $500 a month. And the final question is, will you dare to try and see if this paradise of smiles on the sea waves is the place your heart has been searching for? If you found this helpful, don't forget to hit like and subscribe so we can continue exploring the places where a new life begins with just a very small number. 2. Cambodia, the land of whispering temples. There are places where history isn't just stored in museums, but breathes alongside you with every step. Cambodia is such a place. From the majesty of Angkor Wat, with ancient tree roots wrapped around stone walls, to the gentle rhythm of life in the narrow streets of Siem Reap, you feel as if you're walking through an unfinished legend. The total cost of living in Cambodia is only around $395 per month. A tidy studio in Siem Reap costs about $180, groceries for the whole month around $100, and another $50–70 for electricity, water, internet, and cleaning. Daily tuk-tuk rides cost just a few dollars, or you can rent a bicycle to explore the city, both cheap and convenient. With $500, you not only cover the basics, but also have enough left over for coffee, night markets, or exploring ancient temples. Immigration policies are also relaxed. Cambodia offers the retirement visa for those over 55, requiring only proof that you can support yourself. The cost is $285 per year and easy to renew. After 5 years, you can even apply for permanent residency. No need to buy property, no need for large investments. An uncommon path in the region. Healthcare here is simple but affordable. Private clinics in Phnom Penh and Siem Reap have English-speaking doctors, with visits costing just $25–30. If you want more peace of mind, you can buy an international insurance plan for $40–60 a month. As for safety, tourist cities like Siem Reap and Phnom Penh are quite friendly, with open locals and an expat community that's easy to blend into. Of course, Cambodia isn't perfect. Power can flicker during the hot season, infrastructure is uneven, and some rural areas aren't really suitable for long-term living. But when you compare this with the ultra-low cost of living, easy visas, and the gentle rhythm of life, many find these drawbacks insignificant. Cambodia isn't for those chasing luxury, but for those who want to live slowly and live genuinely. With 500, you can trade for evenings strolling night markets, hearing folk music mixed with the smell of fried fish, or mornings watching the sunrise over ancient towers. If you found this story helpful, don't forget to hit like and subscribe, so we can keep exploring together the places where a simple life brings more abundance than you'd expect. 1. Vietnam. The land of warmth. Vietnam always brings a sense of ease, from the fragrant morning bowl of pao to the smile of a street vendor in a small alley. And if there's a place that holds both simplicity and affordability for a 500 a month lifestyle, it's Hoi An, the riverside ancient town where time seems to slow down. The average monthly cost of living in Hoi An is just around $450. A small house or quiet studio a few minutes by bicycle from the old town costs about $180–220. Local market food is cheap and fresh. With $100, you'll have vegetables, fresh fish, meat, and even fragrant bouquets of flowers. Eating out isn't costly either. A bowl of cao lao or mi quang is just $1.2, and a strong cup of coffee is under $1. Utilities, including fast and stable internet, add about $70–80. Getting around by bicycle or renting a motorbike for $40–50 a month keeps you mobile and saves money. Hoi An isn't just cheap, it's also easy for long-term living. Vietnam doesn't have an official retirement visa, but you can start with a 3-month tourist visa and extend it. Or if you have online income, apply for a business visa quite easily. Thanks to this, many foreigners have stayed in Hoi An for years without facing major barriers. Healthcare is another plus. Private clinics near Da Nang or right in Hoi An have English-speaking doctors, and each visit costs only $25–30, including medication. This alone eases the burden of medical bills that are often overwhelming in the U.S. As for safety, Hoi An is far more peaceful than large cities. You can stroll through the lantern-lit old town at night without much worry. A small story from Ronald, a man in his 70s from Florida, perhaps says it all. He once fought in Vietnam, but 50 years later chose Hoi An to spend the rest of his life. Each morning he bikes past rice fields, stops to buy warm banh mi and iced milk coffee. Locals call him Sweet Uncle Foreigner because he always carries a smile. Once, when he fell off his bike, the whole street rushed out to help, not asking where he was from, only, "Are you hurt?" He says the most precious thing isn't the cheap costs, but the feeling of being wrapped in genuine warmth. Of course, Vietnam has its drawbacks. Hot summers, crowded traffic if you head into Da Nang, and some bureaucracy that can take time. But when you balance those against a warm, fulfilling life on just $500, many still choose this place as their new home. Vietnam isn't about showing off wealth. It's where you find abundance in small things. A morning with coffee and peace, an evening stroll under lantern lights, or a neighbor's familiar smile. If you found this story helpful, don't forget to hit like and subscribe so we can keep exploring together the places where simplicity brings true happiness. So we've gone through 5 countries, from the majestic Andes of Bolivia, the peaceful countryside of Paraguay, the sun-soaked beaches of the Philippines, the whispering ancient temples of Cambodia, to the warm and heartfelt Hoi An of Vietnam. Each place has its own unique color, but the common thread is this. With just about $500 a month, you can live a full life, not just worrying about bills, but truly enjoying every moment. Now comes the most important question. Which place will you choose to write the next chapter of your life? Leave a comment sharing the country you'd like to go to. Hit like if you found this video helpful. And don't forget to subscribe to join me on the journeys ahead. Who knows? The trip you've been dreaming of might just be one decision away.